Propaganda's coming to light. I am showing you what God is showing me. So, welcome to the video. If you have clicked on this video, um, with reference to the title that I've given to the video, so I actually, so I have been into spirituality for 7 8 years consciously. I've been consciously walking the path, and everybody is on the spiritual path, be it consciously or unconsciously. But yeah, I've been on the path consciously for 7 8 years. So uh, l- last to last year, that is 2023, I was on a spiritual journey, and 2023 was the time when I had my spiritual awakening, when I felt that something has shifted, not only for me but for the planet itself, and so I actually had written about this in 2023 also, and I guess in 2024 also. I i posted down on my Instagram. So by the way, you can also follow me on Instagram. The link will be in the description box. So on Instagram, I guess I didn't have a YouTube channel then. I am not sure. You just have to go back and check it. So there have been 2 3 posts that I've really made upon, that something is happening for the planet, something is changing for the planet. I can just feel the energy shift. So that's how it is for the spiritual people. Spiritual people, we sense energies, we know things, you know and and we just may not be able to define it, logically write it, or logically explain it, but it's there. Wow. Sorry, just got distracted by the eagles flying. So, yeah. So I cannot logically explain it, but I just wrote one sentence that something is shifting for the planet, something is shifting for the planet, some because I felt the energy changes. And yes, it could be because of the solar flashes as well, you know. And of course, solar flashes really changed. The last 2 years have been intense in my own life, spiritual life, personal life, professional life, and it has also been for the planet as well. You know, um, comment down if you also feel the same. You know, so I am quite intuitive, and I can sense the energy shifts. I can sense it, but I don't know the why and how sometimes, of it. So there was this one follower also who wrote like, how do you know this and what is going to happen for the planet? I said, I don't know what is going to happen for the planet. I don't know what is going to happen, but there were some intense changes that I felt for in 2023. And 2024, I could see the new earth. I could feel, and I could sense the new earth coming in. Rather, I should not say the new earth coming in. I should say that we are the one who are creating the new earth. It is also coming to us, and we are also going towards it. We are creating it. And the foundation has already been set in 2025. So with the beginning of the year itself, the foundation has been set for the new earth. And yeah, so yeah. so so I felt it. So now, since I felt the energy changes are happening for the planet and things are happening, of course my mind so much badly wanted to reason it out, like what is happening, how it is happening. And of course I had an interest in it, like what is happening for the planet. I and I've the more you do the spiritual work, the more and more you become less. You become less of your ego, more of your soul. You so yeah, you come out of your ego. Your life is just not about you. You naturally feel for your community, for your nation, for your neighborhood nation. Suddenly your family starts to get bigger and bigger, once you do your spiritual work, because you realize that you know every body is carrying a soul, and you are one with that soul itself. So the more and more you do the spiritual work, it starts to happen for you. So my interest has always been in the community. My Yeah, and you know how kids are, kids usually feel that the most, but as we become more and more adults, our focus shifts more onto us, and that's when things starts to get messy, and we get attached to ourselves a lot, and that's when we come into spiritual imbalances as well, like we're forgetting the real wisdom of life. Wow. I'm sorry, I get distracted by these eagles. So yes, so so I, to my mind was so much, was wanting to reason it out, and even God showed me, how and things are coming to light. So I, saw God started to show me that in 2023. So um, you know, I mean, God started to show. It's not something like um, I mean, I of course I have sources, and I'm going to give you the sources of what I have discovered, all the propagandas that I've discovered, and I'm going to share with you, so that we, so that my followers have a rich insight into what really is happening in the world and globally what is really changing, So yeah, let's just start with that. So I had already discussed about this propaganda, that was there in one of my video. I might share that in my description box. You might check, you know. So one of the video that I've already talked about, one of the propaganda. So there is this. The writers of Snakes in the Ganga. Snakes in the Ganga is a very famous book, and so the same writers have written, how we are raising our children, where they have talked about, how some Western organizations, these non-profit organizations, that is exactly what they claim to be, how they came into India, and how they started, in the name of in the name of doing good for us, what they were really trying to do. So they introduced comprehensive sexual education, something like this, that they introduced into our school. I hope I'm using the right labels. So there is this book available, you can go and read it as well. It's on my reading list as well. So yeah, so how they are trying to sexualize the content. Okay, they are really trying to do that. They are, so it's very disgusting actually to talk about it, but I think when they can do it, when they can really the truth should be spoken out, right? However disgusting it is, what they are doing, but it should be spoken out, because if we will not speak out, they are all ready to do it. The real face should be out. So it talked about how this so what they were really trying to do was that they were trying to introduce the concept of sex as something pleasurable, and that's it. So they don't want, basically they don't want, these children, when they grow up, they don't want them to get into families, so they were introducing the concepts of contraceptives and stuff like that very early, okay, in children's life, like and they were trying to program them into, like, how sex is just a pleasurable activity and it's not for creating families. So you don't create families. If you have ever read 1984, it's a Orwell's novel. So George Orwell is has been known for writing political satires. So he wrote this 1984 novel. So it is actually a dystopian novel, around how he wrote it in something in like 1900s, I guess so. And he talked about how in the coming times the government, how it will control the population. So first thing that they would do is they would try to break the families. सबसे पहले family को तोड़ो, love खत्म करो, try उनकी कम्युनिटी निकालो उनकी लाइफ से. ओके, एंड ऐसे बहुत सारे प्रोपागैंडाज है जो हैव बीन इम्प्लीमेंटेड, यू नो in the west, in the east. They have implemented it just to mint money out of it. Okay, so so in comprehensive sexuality education, they try to do these things to children. They try to program them, and the more early you know get these the more early you get these programming, the more solid it becomes in your brain. But then the teachers protested, like, what this content is, this doesn't have any meaning to it. So they're trying to do that. Then there was, since we have started to talk about breaking families, so there has been another propaganda. How I saw a video of American parents, I guess, last year somewhere, their videos were getting viral around, how their children are, taught about how they are confused, how they are made to be confused around their genders, you're a male in a female body or female in a male body, you know. Even our Hindu myths, have specified there is a male, female, and there has been also a mention of transgenders as well. But then there are a whole lot of, um, other things that are, they are just making up. Okay, they're just making up certain things, and and yes, I am not and yes, there could be more, I don't know, but it's only you who knows better. What I am trying to do here, I'm not trying to attack any community or any kind of that. I am just trying to say that, uh, are you a victim of the propaganda, or are you really thinking from your brain? That's all. I just care about you. That's why I'm here. I'm not really trying to attack any community, that this is false community, that is false community. No. But are you really, do you know what you know from your inner voice, or do you know what you know because you have been programmed that way? you know so once you're confused about your genders, there's no way you're going to build a family. There is no way you're going to build a family. In 1984 novel also, there were many things that the government did so that people don't fall in love, they don't build families, and and that is exactly opposite is happening right now on earth. I mean, you know uh, many of many of them are coming into unions, building harmonious family. Many are initiated into building harmonious families in 2025, and of course it's and these unions, people in these unions, they know that it is more than them. The union is not about them. It's more than just these two people. This union is something so much more. So many are initiated into it, and we are moving towards that. you know and gradually we'll see more and more of these harmonious unions, and that is going to change the vibration of the planet. you know so yeah. uh, by the way, if you think that any of my information, if you feel that it could be challenged, or it could be, um, or you feel that something is not correct or something, then I would appreciate if you write down about it in the comment section, so I can again cross check and verify all this. But this has been my research. This is what I have seen and have been reading about. So yeah, and I've just come here to join all the dots, and try to inform my followers around it. Okay, then uh, then okay, so there is this a very great he's a geopolitician, Ankit Shah. So he's also talking about, nowadays he's also talking about the layoffs. I think every Sanatani, every Indian, should definitely, see his work that he's doing. And he has given me a lot of insights upon, he has also exposed a lot of propagandas that have been there. And he makes very y- he makes he gives out predictions, very feminine in personality. He says that he reads energies, on stage of these geopoliticians, everything very feminine energy. That's how, is a true example of a feminine energy in a male. So he has also exposed many propagandas, that have been there. So he's talking about de-dollarization. He's, how the dollar will not be the reserve currency anymore. And many many nations are waking up, to to the uh, to the mischief that, the West has been creating. And the West has created the Western, certain, maybe West is not the right word, but those people have actually created mischiefs not only for the East, but they have created mischiefs for their own countries as well. All right, so that has happened. uh, since we were also, so yeah, okay, let me just finish first about, what Ankit Shah was just saying, that so there will be many layoffs, and I guess 2-3 days before, um 2-3 days ago, sorry, I heard about this news as well, that there is going to be 14 there are going to be 14,000 layoffs in Amazon. And of course, we can see, I've been been reading about the layoffs, like mass layoffs, since I guess last years in 2023. I've been in Voices also had, I guess, I heard about it, I guess 2023, if I'm not wrong, I don't know. So there have been mass layoffs going on, and it's happening all because of de-dollarization. How dollar will not be the reserve currency anymore, and how, some people have created mischiefs. Even Elon Musk, he also exposed about, how dollar was printed, just like that, creating mischiefs, for the world around. So there were people who lived in terrible poverty, and dollars were printed, just like that, in the United States. So even Elon Musk has, exposed around that thing. So all these mischief, all these propagandas are coming to light, and yeah, and if you really see, you were talking about breaking families, so I just I just so much want to, talk around, how they were, if you've really seen after independence, how we used to have joint families in India, and then slowly and gradually there was a wave of individualization. We were taught, we were taught, the Western education was like that. It started to say that, uh, just talk about your rights, ask about your rights, from your brothers, from your sisters, from your parents, and then move away. Ask your rights, you should have, you know you should have your own rights. They are, so the families used to stay in a lot of cooperation together. They used to, they used to work together in farm fields. In India we were very much in agriculture. We were 60% into agriculture profession, and we used to go together, work on farm fields. We had a very collaborative work, very cooperative work we had. And then suddenly, they there was a wave, and Western education has really done that to us. It was very logical, very logical. you know and if you see the if you also see about, the temples, how English Indian writers, after Britishers left, I have been an English student, so I have read about Indian English writers. Once they left, they started questioning the mandirs. They started questioning, they started seeing stone in gods. Started seeing stone in gods was so much a Western idea, because when West came here, they started saying that, and they had to say that, they had to make us feel inferior so that they can rule on us, right? So these Indian English writers also started saying there's so much poverty, there is, just exactly the same language. They were so much in the colonial, the colonials left, but still that ideology was very much there. So they started talking about how these temples are, they're dirty, and there's a lot of poor people out there, and all these things were, put into the minds of the people. They were programmed to think that way. And somebody was has a certain kind, any kind of a faith in God, will be looked down upon, will be said that you are such an old, like I was, when I was into spirituality, when I was doing it, when nobody was doing it, then people had told me, you are so young, why are you doing it? I was in my 20s, I guess, and I used to listen to Kabir's bhajan, Kabir's dohe, and people were like, why are you so boring? Why? Wow, eagle just flew over me. So yeah, they told me that. So this is a very programmed ideology, we are living in. So you know yeah, if you really look at India also, you will see that how they are, first we had joint families, then there was a wave of individualization. It's a very much an effect of a Western education system. We started asking our rights, we separated. At least now we are in nuclear homes, because, and if you look at West, what they did to West also was something like that. So I have my sources from Ankit Shah. He was talking about this, and I really thought that I also need to share about this in my own channel. I need to collect all this information, talk about it. So he was also talking about the same thing, that in the West, what they did was they said that we will take care of your old, old old age parents and everything, and they started giving very less, loans on very less interest, okay, to students. So student loans were really cheap, so they started taking loans, they started moving away. So that's how they started making families. I remember one of my acquaintance was talking to me around, about parenting. So he was sharing one of a German's book. So a German author had written it, and he was talking about how, when child is little older, how you should train him, to be independent, to be all alone, to be on his own. And I said that is very much an, Western ideology. you know I mean, if you I'm forgetting the name of this research that was done, and I'm totally forgetting the name. So I've read about this one research also that was done. So it was a social experiment that was done, and they found in that social experiment. I wish I could just remember the name. Okay, so there was a social experiment that was done, and they found that in the early stages, child very much needs the parents. So that it builds up a very secure sense of attachment style. Okay, and once it comes to an age, it naturally starts to move away. When you're a teenager, you really feel that, okay, now I want to independently move into that, but not before that. Until and unless the child feels it, we should not train him into it. you know so they divided you first on the basis of religion. They divided you first, on the basis of caste, creed, whatever. By the way, the caste and creed were never meant to divide us. They were just used, in our, we had a varna system. So they were just, the ways of simplification, and it never meant that it has to be in hierarchy. We never saw it in an hierarchy. Okay, but they made it. you know I mean, they started seeing it at that way. It was never meant to be that way. So what I'm really trying to tell you is through this video is that, asuras, the demons, why we think that only God comes on earth. Even asuras, demons, they also take birth, right? So, and of course you were never going to find them. They're invisible. Okay, they're invisible. You will never find them. They'll never have a face. Their ideology will, you know the wave, the ideology, that they have, they do things behind the doors. Okay, and their ideology, that is what, that will stay with us. So yeah, so asuras, demons, they always targeted families, they always targeted the collective power. Okay, they never wanted us to be into families, they never wanted us to know the love and the togetherness. I really see that people are in relationships, but they feel lonely. I do see that people have forgotten, the art of being with other people. They have truly forgotten that, you know because we have become, of course, we have lost our trust in the universe. We have, egoic mind is very doubtful, it's very skeptical. People don't know how to trust nowadays. They do not trust themselves. How are they going to trust the other person next, by their side? I have seen people constantly checking their partner's phone, being very skeptical, being very, I should not say skeptical, being very suspicious is the right word. There's a difference between skeptical and there's a difference between suspicious. It's kind of a possession, that you go into. So, people are together but they're not together, and I've seen so many relationships like that. They But no, it's right now, with 2025, the beginning. It's the beginning. It's really the beginning, and these propagandas that are coming to light is just the beginning. There is so much more that is going to come to light, and I am just so, if this is the beginning, then what is going to be the end? I don't know, but yeah, there's so much more that is going to come to light. And I think by the end, we'll have good things that will come to light. Right now some shadows are coming to light, but by the time we reach the end, there's going to be good things that are going to come to light. Yeah. So, I just so much wanted to make this video and talk about how, what I have read, what I have researched in these last 2 years. And I just so much wanted to compile it and, talk about it here. And I truly believe that God is showing me all of this, because my heart knows something, but my mind is like, how, what, when? And then, of course, I need, certain stuff that is, so that truly explains my intuitive knowing. So I've truly found an interest in this. I truly found an interest in my community. Your family becomes bigger and bigger, once you go through a spiritual awakening. You realize, everyone is your is once everyone is one. Everything is one. So yeah. So yeah. And 2025, the foundation is laid, for, we are getting into, harmonious unions, that will create the new earth, that will create the 5D earth. Many are initiated into that this year, or will be initiated into this year. So yeah. um how creating wonderful families are going to change things. I just want to talk about how creating wonderful families are going to change things. So I was watching Shiv Shakti the other day. It's a series that is broadcasted here in India, and I love that show. And there's so much that I learned from it. So what happens is that, nowadays, what I'm watching is what is happening right now in that series is that, so what happens is, so all the asuras, they kind of, they self sacrifice themselves into a fire ritual. Okay, so that, you know so that they create a bigger kind of a demon. Okay, so basically self-sacrifice is a whole lot of energy. Okay, it's a when you do self-sacrifice, something like that, it creates a whole lot of energy. But it's not, self-sacrifice is not, um I mean, self-sacrifice, people also do that, self-sacrifice and ego, right? So so all these asuras, demons, they really thought that, our purpose and our propaganda is to, finish the world or whatever. So they self-sacrifice them, but it is, so self-sacrifice in itself is a big energy. So even good people do it, they create big energies. If asuras, people from the place of ego, they do it, they create big energies. So they created so many bad negative energies together, and they gave all of them together when they went into their fire ritual. They birthed swarth, they birthed selfishness. So selfishness as an entity was born. Okay, and it started spreading all its negativity on the earth. Okay, and and then the Shiv and Shakti had to separate, and then they had to come onto earth, establish a harmonious union again. And then they had to break those negativity, and only Shiva and Shakti could break those negativity. I mean, the pure souls only can break the negativity. So so just trying to tell you the importance of family, just trying to tell you the importance of love, just trying to tell you the importance of community. Like, when you get into a harmonious family union, you create that, it shifts the energy, it shifts the vibrations of the planet. And suddenly people start to wake up. Even all these propagandas, do you know why all of these are coming out? Yes, I know, solar flashes. But um, I know, solar flashes, yes, I get it. But what I have seen and what has been, my interpretation of it, and I feel I truly feel it's 99% truth. Okay, but 1% we can keep it as a doubt. But I truly feel that all the people who have done the inner work, all the people who have done the spiritual work, all the people who are on the earth, who have purified themselves of the, they have rejected ego, they have, it's not okay, rejected ego is not the right word, they have, they have shed ego, and the more and more they have evolved into their soul. It's because of that all these propagandas are coming to light. So these vibrations, they carry a whole lot of importance. You being happy, it creates a whole lot of difference for our planet. So if you're on the other side of the video, I wish you happiness, I wish you a balanced spiritual life, and I wish that very beautiful time is coming for our planet. And I wish you choose to see that beautiful side. I wish you know you choose to surrender to God. मेरे गुरु हमेशा कहते हैं, दीप त्रिवेदी, तो वो हमेशा कहते हैं कि भगवान तुम्हारे साथ ही है। अगर अगर तुम बीच में ना हो तो तुम खुद ही बीच में आते हो। हम ही खुद बीच में आते हैं। अगर हम बीच में ना आए तो भगवान हमारे साथ ही है, हम ऑलरेडी कनेक्टेड हैं टू द डिवाइन। ओके, बट वो कनेक्शन छूट जाता है, वो कनेक्शन चले जाता है जब हम अपने आप को ले आते हैं। सो यू बिकम लेस एंड लेस ऑफ योर सेल्फ, यू बिकम मोर एंड मोर ऑफ योर सोल, द मोर the more you're associated and connected to God. So yeah, that has been my video for today. um are there any questions around it? You can write down in the comment section, and I'm also available for healing services, so you can also avail that. You can check everything in the description box. Thank you for watching the video. Do like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you.